From Tally to Cali.
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up! Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by
Vitamin Energy. The vitamins.
The energy.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Good Wednesday evening to all of you out there watching this live edition of Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. Thanks so much for being here. I'm Aslan Hajavandi. Over there, Corey Clark. We're here to share information about Florida State athletics, everybody. Football mainly. Big football game coming up pretty soon. Cannot wait. Stay in the know. Subscribe to warchant.com. You can do so for as low as $1 for a week. It's incredible. There's also other perks, like a year subscription to The Athletic up for grabs. So come on in. Water's just fine. We got lots to talk about. Corey, how are you, friend?
I'm great, Aslan. Thanks so much for asking. Not that you asked, really, but I just came off a pretty intense workout. So I'm trying to still get my breath back together and try to find my my third wind here. But I'm going to power through because that's what I do.
You know, it'd be nice is if you had a delicious energy shot that you can just shake
and then take.
You gotta take it though. The factory seal on this thing is so good. They don't want anybody going here and messing with your vitamin energy.
Yeah, anti-theft.
Oh man. But yeah, shake it and take it. VitaminEnergy.com. Vitamins, nutrients, synergistically formulated to get you at your best. Get your mood right. Get your focus right. I have neither, but my mood's going to get better once I hit this. If I would have the focus, I would have remembered the question I was going to ask Gunnar Hansen and not totally choke that one away, Corey.
You got it back, though, right? Didn't you remember it? Yeah, you got it back eventually. That's fine. That happens.
Very next question. So, good grief. That's good. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's go.
Oh, wow.
VitaminEnergy.com, everybody. Before we start, Corey, we've done this live show for how long?
20 years. I think it was it was the summer before Weatherford and Xavier Lee.
Yeah.
I had that quarterback battle in 2005. So yeah, right on 20 years now.
Yeah. And people were complimenting the open that we played at the beginning of the show, which we've had an open for a long time. It's just crazy nobody ever noticed it until.
It's good. Well, some people didn't, but yeah, it's really well done. That's Aslan putting all that together. If you look closely, when there's the panel of all 10 of us, you see me like I look like I was stung by a bee. That was about 35 pounds ago. And then, now you see me now. Just just a different look. Well, no, I'm still ugly, but at least I'm still bald. But at least I don't have the enormous cheeks like I used
to. Our guy Never Lose Your Nerd said he was waiting impatiently. You know what time he posted that at?
5:42.
7:22 a.m.
There you go. Never Lose Your Nerd. Nice. He's fired up.
By the way, before we start, shout out to my guy Travis, our guy, Corey, Travis at the Avis here in Tallahassee. Needed to get a rental car in a pinch, called them up, and I get maybe one sentence out of my mouth. He's like, "Is this Aslan Hajavandi?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Dude," he's like, "I love Wake Up Warchant. Let's do it every single day." Then he moved heaven and earth to get me a rental car for tomorrow.
Nice.
So good customer service, still alive, everybody.
Yeah.
Shout out to Caden Tharp, who became a YouTube member.
Okay, dog.
Enjoy the different emojis. Enjoy the bonus hour of Seminole headlines.
Well,
plenty of perks.
We got to start. We actually got to get back to that, Caden, but we will. I'll get the boys back. We'll start doing that bonus hour of headlines again.
All right, well, let's get to it then, Corey. We spoke to Herb Hand, and then we spoke to Tommy Castellanos, and then Gunnar Hansen. So you're starting quarterback, you're starting left tackle, and the offensive line coach tasked with getting that offensive line up to par to protect that quarterback. I guess let's start with Herb Hand. We had some disagreements in our inter-office communication app that we use. I kind of tend to agree more with a guy like Jeff. I kind of got some sense from Herb Hand, and you and I were mind mattering it. It was awesome. I really wanted to ask him about. He's been doing this for so long, Corey. And you've intimated as much when you're asking him this. You have to have a good idea of how these guys are going to perform, or is there always some sense of you never really know until there's actually a game, different jerseys, lights, cameras, all that sort of stuff. And he kind of agreed with that sentiment. So I think for him mentioning that, and then when I asked him about what's the difference between a team that's got 5 guys that have played 2,000 snaps alongside each other versus 5 guys that have just played 2,000 snaps each wherever else, I think they'll be fine, to your point, when they get to that Miami part of the season. I don't know if they're quite going to be an optimal performance against Alabama, and I don't even think it's because Alabama is a extremely talented team. I just think there's still going to be some growing pains, learning curve, despite not being as sharp for this offensive line. What did you take away from Herb Hand?
Yeah, I think that's his biggest worry is that no matter, look, if Rizzi's your 6th guy, and Rizzi has a ton of college football starts, so you're talking about 6 extremely veteran football players up front. But his biggest concern, and that's what he was talking about when he was like, everybody just wants to say block somebody, block somebody. There's a lot more to it than that, as in the technique matters, communication matters, but almost more than anything. And all these guys are smart, and they've all played a ton of football, but not together. So are they seeing it with 10 different eyes, or are they seeing it with one eye? Well, 2 eyes. Come on, guys. Keep it clean, gang. But are they seeing it as one, or are they seeing it as 5 different entities? That's what I think he's worried most about, because I don't think he's worried that physically they're just going to get manhandled. Physically, they can't do it. They're good enough college football players up front. None of them are stars, or they'd be in the NFL. We get all that. But they are good enough. They started at all their other schools, and they played well at times. So he's not worried about just physical domination. He's worried about confusion, because they have not played together yet. And it's one thing to do it in a scrimmage or do it in 20 practices. It is another thing to do it against Alabama, who is trying to confuse you, and it's Alabama. So I think that's his biggest concern going in. And I also thought it was interesting when he was talking about, I don't think he's worried about his starting 5 necessarily. I think he's worried about if somebody goes down, as he was pointing out, like you need 3 tackles, 3 guards, and 2 centers. I think right now he would think his second center is probably a starting guard. You know what I mean? Like it's that mix and match where, okay, if Pettibone, who they love, Pettibone is the guy, like he's the anchor of the whole thing. They all talk him up. If Pettibone goes down, and let's say you have to put Rizzi at center, I don't know. Now that makes you weaker somewhere else. And that's where the dominoes start to fall. So I think he's worried about those backups. And I think he was trying to send a message to those backups, like get ready to play. Lucas Simmons, Andre Otto, whoever, get ready to play and stay ready to play, because you might play this year.
Block somebody.
Was that him?
Yeah.
Oh, that's how he said it. He was making fun of the people that just, I don't know, making fun. He's like, that's the battle cry, right? You hear it forever. And it was that. Block somebody. And he's like, but it's then he's like, it's not that easy. There's more to it than just blocking somebody. It's working as one. It's techniques. It's fundamentals. It's pushing the guy the right way, all that kind of stuff.
I do wish that we would have gotten a little bit more in terms of the starting 5 being cemented. But do you think that's something he would admit if he knew?
No.
Or is that something he has to kind of play close to vest at this point?
And that's kind of what I would have pushed back with Jeff on. But I just was like, I'm not doing this conversation anymore. Plus, I was driving. I'm not going to slack and drive, folks. Come on, I'm not doing that. But even if he had the starting 5, I don't think he would tell us, either because he was ordered not to. Like, hey man, don't give them any real names as starters, or also like, what's the point of it right now? You want these young guys to still feel like they're competing for a job. Don't say you've got your starting 5 when you've still got 10 days left. He knows he's got a starting 5, I'm sure, or he feels comfortable with at least 6 for 5 spots. But I don't think there's nothing to gain from saying, if you're trying to get guys to rise their level of play and performance, to tell I don't know, man, the Andre Ottos or the Lucas Simmonses of the world, yeah, I know who my starting 5 is, and it's not you guys. You want them to keep playing and keep kind of pushing you want competition to practice for the next week and a half.
Yeah.
Right. What's there to gain? What's there to gain from telling us?
I wasn't expecting him to say that, Gunnar Hansen's going to be at left tackle and Micah Pettis will be at right tackle. We're going to go, I didn't think he was going to go through that, but just kind of like, if we had to play a game tomorrow, I wouldn't have a doubt in my mind who I can trust. My
like
5
Gus,
most trusted guys, right?
So you're talking about like with Gus with the receivers when he's like, I've got these 3 that have separated myself. Yeah, I think I think maybe, but I don't know Herb Hand. Maybe he's never said something like that. You know what I mean? Like no offensive line coaches are ecstatic this time of year. None of them are like, boy, holy cow. You thought the 95 Cowboys had something. Wait, no offensive line coaches by nature are just hard asses and don't give a lot of flowers. So they're never happy. They're never really excited about anything. But also I would think you don't want those guys that are fighting to be pivotal backups to then know that they're going to be backups. Like you don't want to hear right now that there's a starting 5 if you're on the outside of that 5. It is my impression. It doesn't mean there isn't one though.
It's our guy T. Giddy, everybody. Wake up. We love Corey's tangents and my show openings and original ad reads. Drops $20 in the jar.
Thanks, T. Giddy. What up?
Central Florida in the house. Or maybe he's down in Boca. He's got I forgot to say when I was down in Punta Cana, I was wearing my Boca Fire Department whatever, like friend of the program shirt. And this lady actually came up and she was like, "Oh, do you live in Boca?" And I'm like, "No." And she was extremely disappointed. It felt like stolen valor. I think maybe I actually said the story. But T. Giddy, just so you know, I've been rocking all the
that's nice.
Cool swag you send our way.
That's why I always hesitate because we got those Brooklyn. Well, no, I don't. I never got them because Tom still has them. I would love to have them, but I was always going to be hesitant about wearing them because I was like, I don't want to pretend that I'm a fireman. I'm an idiot, cowardly sports writer.
Thanks, T. Giddy. Appreciate you, man. Thomas Giddings, our guy. Danny C. 1228. At this moment, what is both of your biggest worries heading into the Bama game next weekend? For me, Danny C. 1228, it's the feeling that our defensive line is basically only Darrell Jackson and James Williams.
Yeah, what I'm worried about is those might be really good players. I think Darrell Jackson's an NFL player. I think James Williams could be one. But again, he's never played more than like 200 snaps in a season. So he's got a lot to prove. After that, my biggest concern is you just have a bunch of dudes. Not horrible, but just kind of Jags, right? Just a guy. I think there's the way it feels. That's you're never going to be great at everything. But that is my biggest worry is that your defensive line has 2 dudes that can really play, that have NFL potential, and everybody else is just the ceiling is solid college football player. And I think at Florida State, moving forward, the ceiling for your defensive lineman needs to be higher than just college football starter. You need to go get some dudes. I don't know if they have any.
Man, just what I would do to push this game down to week 3 and have East Texas A&M and also have the Kent State game. The thing that I found a little bit interesting, and this is me probably reading way too much into it, but when I think Tommy was talking about, he was asked today about him and Gus, and he's like, "Oh yeah, like I was a different guy when he first recruited me and I've grown." And he's like, now it's just about us like gaining trust. And I just thought about like, if he makes the wrong read, and you said this on yesterday's show, right? Like Gus is a guy that probably doesn't care too much about hurting players' feelings. Maybe he's a little bit different with quarterbacks. Maybe there's a little bit more kick gloves that are used, but just 2 3-and-outs in a row. And Tommy comes to the sideline and Gus like, "Hey man, like you missed something, and Tommy might be like, "All right, whatever. Like I'll figure out, like, give me the iPad. I'll look at it." And just some sort of like, there's just so much uncertainty with this team, man. Like Mike having to step away after 2 years of calling plays, 3 years of calling plays, and just being hands off. And like, how is this all going to kind of work? So those are the more esoteric kind of things, but defensive line, I think is probably at the top of most people's ballots right now, Corey.
Oh, 100%. I definitely think that 100%. I think that you have some depth at linebacker. Again, I don't know that it's NFL depth, but I think there's some quality depth there. What worries me about the defensive line legitimately is we know that Herring can play. He's done it at this level. We know that Stephon Thompson can play. He's done it at this level. Obviously, Nicholson, Cryer, Omar Graham, they played a lot. Haven't been good, but they played a lot. And they should theoretically get better. The defensive line, you don't know anything about any of these guys. McCray from Western Kentucky, not huge numbers. Jason Jenkins coming off an Achilles and never put up huge numbers at Tennessee. Jane Jones coming off 2 ACL tears. Diggs, hadn't heard much about him. So you just got a bunch of guys that you brought in that we're kind of here to provide depth, but you kind of hope one or two maybe stand out, and we have no idea. Like, we'll see, right? Maybe McCray or Jenkins or one of those guys ends up being really good this year. Just right now, that's my biggest worry because none of them have proven it in front of our eyes.
What do you think about this, Corey? I saw somebody posted a poll over on warchant.com's tribal council the other day about, going to the season, do you approve? I don't think it was support. It was like, do you approve of Mike Norvell still being the guy and leading this program? And it was overwhelmingly favorable. I think it was just a yes or no. I don't think there was degrees of it, or maybe it was a yes or no. And I don't know, or something, but the favorability was something like 60%. Yes, I believe in him. It was really, sometimes it's is it silent majority? Is it loud minority that's kind of shifting some of or steering some of the conversation? But then today, or actually earlier this week, I just saw it for the first time today, Corey, there was a poll about, how do you think the game's going to wind up? Florida State wins narrow margin. Florida State wins big. Alabama wins narrow margin. Alabama wins big. And it was 70% almost in the Bama category.
Yeah.
I know they're two different things, right? Supporting and not supporting, but believing in the coach, but then not believing in the outcome's going to go your way in the first game. How do you think fans square that up in their minds right now?
I mean, I think a lot of it, dude, is the opponent. It's not like they're opening with Virginia and you think you're going to lose. I think you can believe in Mike Norvell as a coach and still not believe he has a good enough roster to beat Alabama in a season opener with a whole new coaching staff and a whole new roster. Essentially, that's a lot to ask. But you might, like you said, the poll might be different if it's the first game in October. And Florida State's 3-1 or 4-0 going into it instead of 0-0 coming off 2-10. So I think that's how I square it. Is Alabama's almost like a one-off, man. And it might not. And again, it's not like this is Saban's Alabama. By the way, Tommy Castellanos. Why didn't we get to interview that kid that's saying, "Hey, Saban can't save you now." We got zipped up, buttoned up. Didn't want to say anything exciting, Tommy Castellanos.
Yeah, you put him in a straitjacket. You told him, hey, man, I don't want you to put any bulletin board stuff out there.
Well, I did do that, but I wanted, because I could tell he wasn't trying to say anything. Yeah. He had been talked to, hey, we're not dealing with that now. But I was trying to give him, look, I'm not, this isn't a gotcha question, but give me something. But yeah, so I think a lot of it is just, it's not Nick Saban's Alabama, but it's still Alabama. And I still feel like most people, when you come off 2-10, realistically, struggle to see how you're going to beat Alabama in a season opener. But Gumps. But it's not out of the realm, man. Alabama's a favorite. I get it, but it's not out of the realm. They're not a 35-point favorite, and you're at home, and you might have the better quarterback. You might have the better team. Nobody knows right now. They got the better receiver. They got the better offensive line, but maybe you have the better team. Who knows?
Oh, let's pick it up. Let's keep it with the quarterback, Corey. What I found most interesting from Tommy was when he talked about, I asked him about how does he balance being a playmaker, but then also realizing he needs to be available and kind of preserve his body. And he joked about I don't like getting hit. I do a pretty good job of sliding and getting out of the way of contact. But he said that maybe one of the biggest things he's grown and learned is just to give up on a play, fight to see another day, throw the ball at the feet of the offensive line, throw the ball away. And to me, I'm hoping, but I'll ask you, give us maybe a little bit more firm of an answer, but can he be both? Can he be kind of reckless, freewheeling Tommy Castellanos of 2023, but then also with a little sprinkle of maturity to throw the ball away and not press?
I mean, yeah, that's the hope, right? You also 2023 Tommy Castellanos, he was the team. If they were going to move the ball, if they were going to score, it was all on his shoulders. And then last year, he was essentially, talk about straitjackets, he was put in a straitjacket where he didn't get to be himself. I do think this could be the best of both worlds for him, where he can be freewheeling. Gus Malzahn has no problem with that. Mike Norvell has no problem with that. He can be a guy that goes and makes dynamic plays, keeps plays alive. Lord knows Jordan Travis did it plenty, and Norvell didn't seem to have a problem with it. But also, if it's 1st and 10, you don't need to throw into double coverage. You can throw it away. Like, live to see another day. If it's 3rd and 10 and it's a close game, go ahead and understand that punting isn't the worst thing in the world when you're at your own 20. I feel like just the reps of football and playing as many snaps as he has should lead him to that. You know what I mean? I expect that. I expect him to take care of the ball for the most part, and I expect him to still make plenty of plays. And you hope, there's always a time, right? If it's 4th and 8 and you're down by 6 with 2 minutes to go, yeah, man, you have to throw it up for grabs. We get it. You can't Reggie Ball it out there and throw it away on 4th down. Reggie Ball, everyone, was a quarterback for Georgia Tech in the mid-2000s. I actually got to throw to Calvin Johnson, and he famously threw a ball away on 4th down, threw it into the stands with the game on the line against Georgia. So I think he's realizing and he's smart enough to do both. What I worry about with him is Gus Malzahn is good at what he does, and he's got good receivers. Norvell has proven he's good at what he does. They are going to scheme some things that are open. You just want to make sure he sees it. It gets the ball to whoever's open, like, quickly. That's the thing I worry about most with him, is throwing on time and throwing on rhythm. But it's not a worry because I've heard he's not doing it. It's just we haven't seen him in this offense yet. But I know he can make plays with his feet.
You folks can make plays next week by coming on out to the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, making the right play, doing the right moves, as we will have the kickoff live with the Warchant show.
Look at this thing. This is an all-timer, Aslan. This is like in Dublin.
Yeah, man. August 29th, Friday, the day before the Alabama-Florida State game, from 5 to 9 p.m. Eastern time. Head over to the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. They, along with Garnet and Gold and Home Field Apparel, have partnered up to put a little bit of a pregame event, if you will, on for everybody. Free wings for the first 100 fans, free Modelo drafts for the first 200 fans. They're also going to raffle off 2 tickets to the game, the Alabama at Florida State game. You're also going to get a new look, or actually a first look, rather, at some of the new apparel from Home Field that will be available at Garnet and Gold. They make really cool, like, retro-based design. So if you're into that stuff, which I think a lot of us are, right? We like the old logo, a lot of us. I got it somewhere here behind me. Come on out to the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Friday from 5 to 9. I think Corey and I will do some sort of 30-minute tap dance live show for you folks. But we'll have the whole Warchant crew will be out there. Come on out and say what's up. Our guy, Travis, the rental car guy, Corey, he said he's going to be there too. So I'm sure we'll see everybody.
Do we know who the surprise special guest is? Because I don't.
I don't either.
Okay, well, it's going to be a surprise to all of us. That's awesome. Yeah. Maybe it'll be Jimbo.
Why you got to play with my emotions, Corey?
Sorry, Aslan.
What about Gunnar Hansen, Corey? Consistency. He was consistent about needing to see consistency. That's about all I got from our guy Gunnar.
Well, he was good about Kromah when I went back on him. Because, hey, everybody just wants to say he's different. And that's what his response was. And then I came back. It's like, yeah, you're like the 5th person to tell us that. What does that mean for you? And he's like, he's physical, the jump cuts. He's not a freshman. Yeah, he was talking him up. And, I think it's interesting asking him about – I thought he was really good about what Vanderbilt did with Alabama last year, honestly. Talking about that, they kind of out-physicaled them. He said they had like an over 40-minute time of possession. They kind of controlled it. And Pettis, I don't know if they beat Alabama when he was there, but he's played Alabama a bunch. So it does help that these guys aren't going to be – not that any Florida State player should be like overwhelmed about playing Alabama, but still, it's nice to know you have some guys that aren't going to be nervous about lining up against Alabama. Gunnar Hansen beat Alabama last year with a quarterback, sort of similar to Tommy Wright, a guy that can run for some first downs and make some plays and kind of dynamic and cocky and confident. So I thought that was interesting, him talking about just, out physicaling them. And if you watch the tape, that's what we did. So, that bodes well, I guess. I thought he was good. I liked him. I think he's a good – that's a good personality to have in your offensive line room.
I like this guy. Corey Bates, our guy out there in Jacksonville. Give it up one time.
Dollar bills, y'all.
$50 in the jar. Let's go, Corey Bates.
All right, Corey.
So much hype around the Desir Twins. They both better record a sack each next Saturday.
Amen, brother. Or I'm not talking about them again.
By the way, Florida State's been doing some cool social media videos. I think some of you might have seen it earlier in the week where they were asking players when they're coming off the field what they set their thermostat to. And it was funny to hear them all joke about like how cold they keep their apartment. And shout out to my guy, Jeremiah Wilson, who's like, I keep it at 79.
Oh my gosh. All right.
I mean, dude, they were talking about keeping their thermostat at 60 in Tallahassee. If you keep your thermostat to 60,
don't have to pay they're not paying their utilities. Clearly
they're not. They're not. Yeah, I wonder, is there more hype around the Desir Twins to make a sack or Javen Boggs to go for like 5 for 85 and a touchdown? I feel like, but we can hold that for a second. Give me your stat line prediction for Tommy against Bama and who will be the leading rusher tackler against Bama. Might stop by the CP next Friday. Let's go, Noel.
If you do, come say hello. Absolutely. And thank you very much, Corey. We do appreciate that. I think he's being hyperbolic about he's being facetious about the Desir Twins. It would be something if they played. That would be, well, as I've talked about, that would be a positive and a negative.
Corey, like, at least Mandrell, who you said you heard might be, well, you get the hint from Norvell. He mentioned him first. What would it mean if they didn't get
nothing?
Not saying make a sack, but to actually get in the game in like a substantial role.
No, it would. If they didn't, it wouldn't mean anything to me. Like as far as like, oh, I guess they were all overhyped. I'm not. Yeah, it would mean if they actually played their freshman season opener against Alabama, like we're in the rotation. Yeah, man, there might be something. You know what I mean? Also, maybe you're not good in front of them. You're not that. There's the twofold thing there. That if what kind of roster do you have when 2 true freshmen can come in and be a part of your rotation on the line of scrimmage? I think Kevin Wynn absolutely would have been a part of the rotation, and maybe he'll still play. I don't know. It just didn't sound as great, his injury status. But but they're not. That would be incredible if they both had sacks. I would say Tommy's line. 300 yards of offense. I don't care how you get there. Give me 300 yards of offense. That's not too much to ask, Aslan. It's not too much to ask. That's 80 rushing, 220 throwing.
That's a lot, man.
He had 4 bills against the 23 Florida State team. I would bet in 2023, and I'm always gonna compare what he is this year to that season, because 2024 was just an offense that didn't work for him. I would bet half the time he had over 300 yards in a game total, somewhere in that neighborhood or in that neighborhood. And he didn't have Deuce Robinson and Squirrel White and the Javon Boggs and Pittman to throw the ball to. So you hope that he can get somewhere in the neighborhood of 300, 3 touchdowns. That would be fun. There you go. Look at that game against Miami. I mean, they got drilled, but he had 150 passing and 130 rushing. And 3 touchdowns.
More though. I care about the.
Well, come on, man. You can't do anything about that.
It's not a one man.
It's not quarterback wins. So I would say if you get 300, then you have a good chance of winning the game. As long as it's not like a cheap 300 when you're down 4 scores in the fourth quarter.
Are we getting the most hate mail if the Desir Twins don't get in the game and do something, or if Javen Boggs goes with like only 1 catch?
No, we better not get any hate mail from anybody about this. I think they do like the Desir Twins a lot. I think they've been surprised by how good they are, and I think there is a chance both of them are factors this year. But I'm saying it here 10 days before the game. I do not expect them to be impact players game 1 against Alabama. I'm just not expecting that. Javon Boggs today, Tommy Castellanos said, is the best freshman he's ever been around. Now, again, he didn't transfer from Georgia or Ohio State, but he said he's the best freshman he's been around. He's going to be a freshman All-American. Every person that's talked about that guy talks about him like he is going to be a star. Again, if he doesn't dominate Alabama, no duh. He's not supposed to. But by the end of this year, he should be a guy that would be on the cover of the media guide going into next season. You know what I mean? Like, he should establish himself through the course of this year, not game 1 necessarily, to be one of the real stalwarts of the team coming back in 2026. He might be a reason if Tommy does go somewhere else or his college eligibility is up. Boggs might be a guy that enhances a quarterback to come play here. If you don't love who you have on the roster, like he could be that good. That's the way they talk about him anyway.
Houston Barber, how many wins in a row to start the season would it take for you to believe this is a playoff team?
I would say, yeah,
5.
4 to 5.
Fifth.
4 to 5.
Fifth.
If they're 4-0 going to Miami, yeah, I would think I would. They're definitely a playoff caliber team. Let's put it that way. That's what they would be in competition for the playoffs. It kind of the Miami game either way, Aslan. If they're 3-1 going into Miami and they win that game, I feel like you're looking kind of like a playoff team, right?
Yeah, no, it's 5. Yeah, 5. They got to win 5 in a row, start the season. You
saying if they won 4 in a row and then lost to Miami 20-19, you're like, yeah, this team can't make this team isn't a playoff team.
No, but it would dent my belief.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, plus
it's going
to be harder to get there because you lost an ACC game.
Yeah, although I don't know, man. They do beat Alabama. It's going to be, whoa, hey. And then if they go into Charlottesville and beat Virginia, I'm like, whoa.
I'm just saying, you might start believing, like, oh, this is the real deal. Like, what if they're 3-0 and then they go and beat Virginia by 3 touchdowns on the road? You might then, going into the Miami game anyway, might be thinking, all right, this is a legitimate team. This might be a top 10, top 12 football team this year.
Can't stop, won't stop. Hey, let's go to Kentucky. Again, this is weird. This is actually Dave in Bardstown, although there's nothing in the handle that suggests it other than he later follows up and says it's Dave in Bardstown, by the way.
Fuck somebody.
Well done, Aslan.
Hey, our guy Matt Lasser, he instantly, God love him. He's always, not always, a few times he'll text me stuff. I think Brooks Koepka said something funny that he was like, you should put this on the soundboard. And I never got around to doing it. But as soon as, like, within a minute of Herb Hand saying that, and listen, Matt's tweeting, Matt's taking photos, he's tweeting the photos and the stuff that's being said. And then he texts me, he's like, you need to put that on your soundboard. And I was like, yeah, probably will.
Yep. That's a good one. Hopefully we're not playing that a lot this year.
Yeah. So our guy Dave says, possible new segment, Crazy Talk, brought to you by Flavor Aid.
Shout out to, well, no, I was going to shout out Jim Jones, but I'm not going to do that. Shout out to the reference, though.
If Alabama's strength is their offensive line and their interior line is supposed to create holes for the running backs, can't linebackers shoot through those holes too?
Good ones. Yeah, good ones. I mean, there's always the really good offensive linemen can kind of push a dude aside and then get to that second level. There's combo blocks where the linebackers are taken on by a guard pulling and things like that. Like they counter for that. But yeah, the really good ones can find a way to find the ball. And we'll see. Again, I keep qualifying everything, and I don't mean to. This is an important game. It's a really important game, and we will get to see where Florida State stands after game 1. I am just not going to make a bold declarative about what we see on Saturday, August 30th, as it's going to mean that's what this team is. That, you know what I mean? Like if the linebackers don't look good against Alabama, that does not mean by the games that really matter, those conference games, they can't look better. Also, Alabama might just be really good. And, okay, you didn't look good against them. You might look better against Virginia, Miami, Stanford, and on and on and on. But, yes, it stands to reason a good linebacker can shoot those gaps and find the ball carrier.
Next, I want to ask Cryer, I'm like, is it more important when you're going up against an offensive line like that? Is it more important just to beat them to their spot or to just have the will to run through them? And he's like, for me, it's the physical part of it. So that's good, right? So,
and I like Cryer. I like that Cryer was honest enough to talk about that he didn't like the defense when it came. And he really, I don't know if you guys saw that interview. We haven't written about it yet, but I would encourage all you guys to watch that interview. He said that he doesn't like, he's never liked 3-down lineman defense. He went to Tony White and asked if he could talk to him. This is in January or maybe even December when Tony White got there, and talked to him and asked him about where do I fit in? Explain this defense to me because I'm not a fan of it. I don't like it. Can you? And he's like, now he buys in. He really likes it, or at least he says he does. But he was upfront and transparent and was like, yeah, I didn't. I as a physical type linebacker, this defense didn't seem right for me. But now that he's played in it for 50 practices and been a part of a defense installing it for 8 months, he does seem to like it a lot more. But he was honest about he was really worried how he fit in with this defense because he wants to be physical, which good for him. They need some of that.
The Villages, Wes, Aslan, and Corey, do you see us going forward on 4th down this year similar to 2022? Or are you feeling confident in the new kicker? See y'all next Friday at the CP. Go Noles.
All right, Wes, we'll see you there.
Pull up some data real quick here, Corey. So in I thought I had it. I lost it. But 2023, which is not the question, they were 84th in the country, and they went for it 21 times. I think they went for it 84th in what? 22.
They were 84th in what? Percentage or
percentage?
Tips?
Yeah. Percentage. So they went for it, what did I say, 21 or 22?
I thought you said 24.
24 times in 2022, which is the question.
Oh, okay.
So they went for it 24 times.
All right.
They finished 120th that year in conversion.
Oh, they were horrible. They were horrible.
So 24 times, 12 games, you're going for it twice a game on average, but they played 13 games because of the bowl. I don't know. I think Gus probably makes you, with the speed, the tempo, probably makes you a little bit more likely to go for it. So if the over-under was 24.5, I would definitely take the over at 23.5. 24.5.
Can you look up UCF the last couple of years in that regard? That's a really good point, Aslan, because you would think so many times we've seen it with a Gus offense or with one of these hurry-up offenses is the third down run gets a half a yard short. And then they immediately run up. Before the defense can even be set, they're calling another play. They're calling a QB sneak or a pitch, and they get the first down. So I would think a hurry-up offense that you hope has a downhill running game, you might be inclined to even go for it a little bit more than normal. But I don't know what Gus's history is, honestly.
Last year, UCF was 67th in conversion percentage, which is higher than any of the 2 years I looked at for Florida State.
Still not great, though.
Yeah, 28 times he went for it last year.
All right.
Let's see here. We'll go the year before, too. See where they were at.
Yeah, because they were good the year before. Like, you're going to go for it more when you're always down. But when you're winning 9 games in a season, how many times – oh, sorry, everyone. How many times are you going for it when you're up or it's a close game?
23 times the year before.
So twice a game. I would think – but it also – the context of the kicker matters too. That's a good point by Wes. Whether they're confident in him right now or not doesn't matter. If he misses a couple kicks early against Alabama, odds are if it's going to be a 49-yard field goal and it's 4th and 3, they're probably going to go for it if he's 0 for 2. Or if he's 5 for 11 going into the Miami game or Stanford game and it's 4th and 3 at the Stanford 30, they're probably going to go for it more. Like that matters. Right now they're confident in him and they would probably kick it. But that can change real quick. I don't think they started out 2022 thinking they'd be going, they'd be throwing it in the end zone from the NC State 20-yard line with 30 seconds left, down by 1. Like, that makes no sense to do that if you have a kicker you can trust. So we'll see how the season plays out, I guess.
Kind of spoke about this at the beginning of the show, but maybe for those that are arriving a little bit later to the program, all right, ATL Noles for life. Like an AI-generated Seminole.
Oh, look at that thing.
Come on. I mean, he's holding what looks like an Arizona State trident, like a pitchfork. Doesn't look like a spear. But anyways, that's AI, everybody. Hire an artist. Hey, fellas, is there a reason for concern after the Herb Hand interview today? I think it was confirmation bias, at least for me, Corey. Like, if you think, which I do, like I just don't know how cohesive they're going to be week 1 against Alabama. I think there was enough there for me to confirm that bias that I might have. But at the same time, and he did say a few times, like, it's going to settle itself in, and like I like where we're at. So I think if you think they have the potential to go out there and hold their own and push Alabama around. I think you probably got some of that residue as well.
Yeah, it's probably just the eye of the beholder kind of thing when it comes to trying to parse what he's saying, reading between the lines. My only pushback with any of reading between the lines of Herb Hand is we've talked to him twice ever. We don't know, and we've never seen him coach a game here, so we don't know how he normally is. I would assume if you interviewed most offensive line coaches 10 days before their season opener, they're all going to talk kind of like that. Like, we've been working hard. We're looking for, we got a good 8, but we still got to grow. We still got to keep communicating and pushing and all, chopping wood. That's how they are. So yeah, it didn't make me any more concerned because I wasn't expecting him to be lauding everyone on his team and just be throwing praise to the offensive line and predicting great success. That's not how offensive line coaches are built. And furthermore, we didn't read too much into anything Atkins said last year. Maybe he was giving us hints that that offensive line was going to suck, but we didn't parse every time we talked to him, and I don't think he did. But my point being, I don't think Alex Atkins gave us any reason to think that offensive line was going to be like that. It's just their words are words. I don't think he knows this isn't going to be a great offensive line. He knows it's going to be a challenge in game 1. I mean, come on now, but I don't think he's worried that this offensive line is going to be a train wreck. Just think it's the natural tone and verbiage of an offensive line coach 10 days before camp, especially with that opponent coming in.
Bang!
Who is this? Who is this?
Is that Joel Davis's music?
Wow, out of nowhere.
Joel Davis, everybody, pillar.
How do you know it's him?
That I think it's him. Oh no, maybe it isn't Joel Davis. I just think he always had I always thought it was a black and white Seminole Head logo, but that's not a black and white Seminole Head logo.
You better tell Noel for Life 757 to confirm who you are. Okay, there we go. All right. It's me, Joel Davis. Had to change my name because of my ex-wife, LOL. All right, Joel. Maybe Aslan shouldn't have put that on the screen, but he did. Joel Davis, you're the best, buddy.
Oh, gosh.
Good to see you again, man. Good to hear from you. Ask us a question. Come out to Corner Pocket. Come say hello. Come do something.
He's the dude. Also, shout out to I shouldn't air. His son really likes football and is doing some good stuff in the football space.
Okay, all right.
So I don't want to get too specific on, but we miss Josiah around here. Josiah would usually be behind the scenes during a live show, and he would log all the different topics that we would talk about in the show, so it would make it easier for me to produce and put it in the show notes. Because again, Corey, like, you bring the wit, the charm, the information, the opinions. I bring the music and the organizational flair, right? So it's like,
and the vitamin energy,
yeah. And I read the ads, but yeah, because I was always just I loved headlines, and I remember like I really got into headlines in 2013, 2014, and then I would even be like, all right, I need more. Like, I need more. Give me more. I'll listen to the Jeff Cameron show, and I just wish there would have been like time stamps of like, hey, we talk about this. Right. So when we did this podcast, I'm like, all right, the first thing I'm going to absolutely do is like in the show notes, I'm going to let everybody know what we talk about when we talk about it.
I can tell you the timestamp for the 13-14 would have been like 1 minute to 58 minutes, hour number 1, Jameis Winston.
Yeah, right.
That's the whole show.
Oh, man. There was a good thing I wanted to
Joel Davis, though. Thank you, buddy. Thank you very, very much. Way, way, way too kind. We appreciate it. And maybe they will put those cousin-loving Bama boys in their place.
I'm not done yet, Corey Clark.
Wow.
What are we doing?
People are excited, Aslan. People are excited.
What? An iconic brand.
Do the block somebody.
Block somebody.
Yeah, with that kind of money, they absolutely need to be blocking somebody. I'm with you, Shane.
Oh, man. Awesome catching up with the Clark couple and all the amazing Seminoles at last weekend's Doak unveiling. Can't wait to see you all for Bama.
Amen, Shane. Say hello to your beautiful bride for us. We will see you in 9 days, 9 or 10 days.
Yeah,
That's
Tampa looks good on those two.
Yeah, they're living the dream, man. They're living the dream. Yeah. So we got to see them. Well, I guess we got to see them Saturday after the. Got to see Z-Chan too.
Yeah, man.
Saw him on the town, and then saw Shane and Michelle too. And yeah, man. Again, going back to why they were here this past weekend, I felt like I don't want to say the people that matter, but they spend a lot of money on their tickets, and they spend a lot of money on this football team in their viewing experience for this game, and they all seem to be genuinely over the moon is probably too strong, but really, really happy with what they saw out of that stadium. Reconstruct, which is good. It warms my heart, warms the cockles, because it's for them, and I'm really happy that they liked what they saw, and their seats look great. So yeah, let's hope it's all a fun time on August 30th.
Yeah, man. It again, I know we want to win football games first and foremost, but I mean, I went and saw the thread that Ira actually started on Saturday, where he was like posting and aggregating some of the stuff that was out there on social media, including photos from our guys Shane and Michelle. And yeah, it's like, that's Doak Campbell Stadium.
Yeah,
that's the concourse. It looks just absolutely first class, pro stadium environment, which is, they did their research, right? They sent out all these surveys, and the feedback they got from the people that keep this whole thing afloat and funded is that they want it to be a little bit more nice and shiny, and they made it a heck of a lot more nice and shiny. So, but then, part of me will always think about like the bowels of Ben Hill Griffin Stadium and leaving it after the 2003 game, and just, would it have been any different if it would have been this really shiny, sterile, perfect, beautiful? I don't know. That there's, that orange glow of Doak's tunnels, after a night game in Doak, and you're leaving, and you're gonna go to the Palace and have a couple cold ones.
Or Corner Pocket, maybe Corner Pocket. You don't have to go to the Palace. You can go to Corner Pocket. Yeah, man, I kind of think of my dad when it comes to people like Shane and James B. and Joel, because he was a booster for a long, long time. And he went to school in the 60s at Florida State. So he's seen it when it was a 30,000 seat erector set to a 60,000 seat erector set. And then he was really, really proud when it became that brick structure that it became. Like, he felt like he was part of the foundation for that. And he's kind of part of the foundation for this. And so are them. So are they. And I bet there just should be a real sense of pride for what that stadium looks like now. And hopefully there'll be more, adjustments to it in the next few years. And it will be legitimately like the belle of the ball for the entire country. Like one of the blueprints of what a great college football stadium looks like, because you're charging NFL rates now for these college football season tickets. You don't need to give them glorified high school stadiums anymore, probably. So, that's really neat, the feedback that I heard about the stadium.
Hopefully when Florida State goes to work on Saturday against Alabama, Corey Clark shows up to work in his work boots from Brunt. Go check out bruntworkwear.com/wakeup. Save $10. Design clothing for the workers out there in the field, by workers that are out there in the field. Their stuff is comfortable. It's stylish. It's ready to go day one. No one's got time to wait for their work boots to get broken in. You know that more than anybody, Corey Clark.
Amen. And I have Brunts, and they look good on me. But Stephanie can't stop laughing when she sees me in them. It's not kind of my vibe, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not that dude. I'm not sitting on the back of a tracker. That's not who I am. So she thinks it makes me look kind of like a poser that I'm wearing work boots when I never work in boots. But they do look good, and they feel good, and you don't have to be a contractor to wear Brunts. You could be a sports writer, a podcaster, as long as you have a nice wife that doesn't laugh at you when you wear work boots.
But the boots are electric rated and will stand up to smudge and grease and oil and everything else, and they're waterproof. So check out bruntworkwear.com. Use that promo code WAKEUP to save $10 off of your order. Shout out to Credible Detailing, throwing $5 in the jar.
Credible.
Very kind.
Dollar bills, y'all.
What's he
Ask
thinking?
a question.
What are they thinking us for?
I don't know.
But thank you.
Says thank you. All right. Well, yeah, thank you.
You're
if you got a question-
No, you're welcome.
Yeah. If you've got a question, go ahead and post it, and don't put a super chat on. We'll try to pop it up. I lost the question I wanted to put on the screen, Corey, because we were celebrating the awesomeness that is Shane and our guy Joel. But I think for me, and here it is, Keith Sully. This is where I'm at right now. And again, listen, this is not what somebody who knows ball says when it comes to this sort of stuff. But I've been listening and reading a lot of the content over at Bama Online. And I shouldn't say reading the content, because that's going to come with a little bit of a pro Bama slant, if you will. But like listening to their defensive coordinator yesterday, I think Kane Womack speak, listen to Ryan Grubb speak. They seem much more, to me, much more kind of comfortable, at ease, pleased with what they're seeing, as opposed to, not that Florida State's coaches have been uncomfortable, but there's always like this other shoe's going to drop kind of thing. We're like, yeah, we're looking good, but we still don't know how it's going to happen when the lights come on. Or, yeah, there's some guys playing with good effort, but we don't have enough guys playing with effort. So the juxtaposition of the way Florida State's head coach and the guys under him are kind of communicating the way what they're seeing versus what Alabama's coaches are. If you didn't know the logos on the hats or whatever, you'd be like, I think the ones on the Alabama side, which you wouldn't know they're Alabama because they wouldn't have a logo, but you'd be like, that guy that's bald, he sounds a little bit more confident in his guys.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, but I think we're trying to look really deep in the way coaches talk about their team. And we don't have anything else to go on, right? Like Alabama's practices aren't open, Florida State's practices aren't open. But I would say
Alabama opens them for a little bit. They've got
for a little bit, yeah. But I think there's some extra context when it comes to, you don't want to boast coming off the season that Florida State had. It's a horrible look. Like even if Malzahn, who I think is always going to be Malzahn in front of us, or Tony White thought that they had some real things happening and they were going to be really good, you're not going to boast. Norvell isn't either. You can't after last season. You just, you like, I think there's something inside you that even if you think, man, I think we might be awesome. I think we might be the best team in the country. There's no way you would even give anything a hint anywhere near that when you're coming off 2-10. You can't, especially because last year, and I know it was a bunch of different coaches except for the head coach, they did seem pretty darn confident. They talked a pretty confident game this time last year, and they were wrong. So,
what did you think? Kalen DeBoer might have some of that same kind of whiplash fear, though.
I don't know. I haven't seen his. I saw the Womack interview, and he absolutely did. Womack. By the way, there was a funny post that I saw on his on the feed I watched. Yeah. He literally touched his hat 22 times at least. Like every time he'd be asked a question, he touched the middle of it with the bill, just with his right hand, like adjust it. It was really bizarre, like a tick or something. And the first comment was, "Coach, enough with the hat." LOL, roll tide. But so yeah, that was once I read that comment, I'm like, what does that mean? And then that's all I saw. I stopped listening to him because I was just watching him grab his stupid hat. But he seemed very confident. He seemed like, but again, I think it's different when you're coaching Alabama. Even though it wasn't a great season by Alabama standards, they were in the playoff race. They did win 9 games, I think, 8 or 9 games, 9 games. They weren't 2-10. If they had come off at 2-10, well, he probably wouldn't be there. But even if he was there, he would not be. I don't know. He probably wouldn't be as comfortable.
Shout out to Braden McGill. I'm watching from Portugal right now. I listened from Spain last week. Love you guys. See you October 11th versus Pitt.
What's the story there? Is he just traveling around Europe? Is he taking is he finding himself out in Europe for 6 weeks or a month or 6 months? Does he live out there? What a fun summer.
Yeah, a little Iberian getaway.
Okay. Yeah.
I was about to say, maybe we need to update the open, like from Thailand to Tally or something, right? We got Portugal, Spain he's been listening to. We have a guy that was over in Japan sometimes calling into the show back in the day.
Then we got Ralph coming in from Hawaii.
Yeah. That's practically a whole nother country itself.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Thanks to Troy Knoll. He's going to be flying in from Wyoming to see the game September 6th with our guy, James B.
All right, man. Nice. Thanks, Troy. And yeah, man, it is kind of crazy. I take it for granted too much. Not just the fandom that this program has. I mean, like the Florida State program and this show has, but also modern technology. There's people in Wyoming and in Portugal watching this right now. I don't know that I ever would have slept if this was a thing in 1988. You know what I mean? If I could watch like Steve Ellis and Daniel Mitchell talk about Florida State or listen to that, I mean, that's all. I would just consume it constantly. But that's back when Florida State was about to start a 14-year dynasty run. But still, you know what I mean? Like, it's really cool that there's this kind of community that's literally all over the globe.
Philip Moore clarify. He says, my above question, he would love to hear our perspectives, but I never saw the question come in. So while he works on that, let's go to Mr. Outside 6661. This looks like a new face, new name, maybe $10 in the jar. I don't know. It's tough to tell with the way YouTube changed the formatting. I'm hoping I run into you guys in Charlottesville. Longtime fan of the show. Much love to the Warchant fam. Go Noles. P.S. When will y'all bring the watch-alongs back?
Those might be done, right? I don't know that we're bringing those back. I think they've gone the way of the dodo, as people used to say. But yeah, will you be in Charlottesville? I'll be in Charlottesville. It might just be an Ira and I joint, or maybe just me. I don't know. But yeah, Stephanie's very, very. I've talked about this. Stephanie is a huge Dave Matthews Band fan, and that's where they originated from. So we're going to have to go see all the old haunts and where their first bar they played at, and the second bar they played at. So we'll be doing that probably Thursday night, and then Friday a little bit, and then obviously Saturday because we'll be there for a while. It's a really cool city. I like Charlottesville.
Yeah. I kind of want to go, but I get we're limited in the budget it's a tough place to travel to. I don't really feel like being in a car for 13 hours and
yeah, it's tough. And I should say it's a really cool city. I don't really know that. It's a cool campus. It's a really pretty campus. So yeah, and we'll be around. We'll be around. So I hope you find us, Mr. Outside. We don't know that name, do we, Mr. Outside 6661?
I don't know for sure.
And thank you very much for the contribution.
Attaboy, Corey.
Yeah.
You're like, you should say donation. It's like, we're not donating.
Yeah.
Not on this show. That's the Jeff Cameron show. Mark AP 32. I was going to say, I thought this might be
Mark from Naples.
Maybe. I don't know. I thought it was going to be our guy. Who's our guy from Jacksonville? Khalil. That always asks good questions.
Yeah. He does always ask good questions. He's in my wheelhouse. Khalil always asks me kind of historical type questions.
Yeah. By the way, Khalil commented on a show a few days ago, and it's a good one. I meant to bring it up. I will right now. Jimbo, Virginia Tech.
What?
What's
the question?
If things don't work out with Brent
he'd go to Virginia Tech.
Yeah. That'd be good.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's kind of his ilk. Yeah. He grew up in that's kind of his people. Hardworking, coal miner type people. He loves Metallica. So it would really be a perfect fit. But yeah, that'd be interesting. It might I could see that happening for sure.
Question on the screen. I must have missed the year Ty Simpson was the starter for Bama and looked like a very promising quarterback for the future. Sarcasm. I wish there was a font for it. Also, is it safe to say Kromah is running back 1?
Maybe. I am more convinced than ever that as long as he's healthy, he is going to finish this season with the most carries. Is that a fair thing to say?
Yeah.
I'm just getting that impression, man. I'm just getting that impression. He's also, I know he's a true freshman, but he's a big dude, man, and he's not 17 years old. Like he's an older freshman that I think can be thrust right into this. And maybe Alabama's too much to ask for him to put up huge numbers. But let me put it to you this way, Aslan. Let's say he has 8 carries for 17 yards against Alabama. But then the next week he has 10 for 130. And then 15 for 126 in the following week. Well, then I think you go into Virginia and he might be your guy. Yeah. He might be your guy. I think that's kind of the way somebody like him could work. It can't like a Cam Akers in 17 type. I think it's too much to ask for him to make a huge impact in game 1 against that defense, but he's going to get a shot. He's definitely going to play. And then I think he might be the guy by the end of the month, but that's not to say he's going to be at 30 carries a game. Malzahn, I don't think they're going to do that. I think Sawchuk and Roydell will get their share too. And I'm really interested in what they do with Jalen Lucas because Jalen Lucas will get touches. I just don't know in what kind of context they'll get the touches.
All right, landing this plane. A couple last ones. There we go. It's our
There
guy.
it is.
Remember, he used to give us yen.
He's still giving us yen right there.
Yeah.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Actually, yen bills. Samurai Knoll, still sending love from Japan. Things have gotten busy, but always love tuning in and hitting that like button while y'all drop sweet Seminole bars. Hell yeah.
Amen, Samurai.
Yeah.
Amen. We got Japan. We got Portugal.
Yeah.
Probably got some people in Florida.
Worldwide. All right, Philip Moore. I saw this question earlier, but so now I locked myself into having to post it up there. I don't see it, but we can kick it around for a minute or two. He wonders, do you think Gus has a vendetta this game with his time at Auburn? Also, do you think the snub with Norvell will have a chip on his shoulder against Alabama?
I would say this. Norvell needs to have all the chips in the world on his shoulders, with or without the snub, and no matter if it's Alabama or not. Like that after 2-10 puts them all back on your shoulders. So he can't afford to just be like, this one matters more. No, but they all better matter, man. They all better matter after 2-10. So I don't think there's any extra weight because it's Alabama or because it'd probably be nice for him because you have to know that Alabama fans were like doing this, even though they weren't in love with DeBoer, when they saw the guy they almost hired went 2-10 the next year, and then DeBoer came in and was 9-4 or whatever. So it'd be nice for him to show the Alabama fans, no, I can still coach. Yeah, I'm a good head coach, but I think it's more about he needs to show the Florida State fans that he can still coach. That's what this season is all about for him. And I don't know that just that snub. The snub should have a chip on everybody's shoulder for the rest of our lives. I'm never dropping. It's never going away. By the way, real quick on that topic, and I don't think Gus has a vendetta necessarily against Alabama. I just think he likes beating them. And maybe he does. Maybe this will be sweeter if they win. Because you saw that Auburn, speaking of Auburn, that they went back and claimed 7 additional national championships.
Unbelievable.
What they used for their criteria is in the NCAA football record books. If you go into the middle of the record books and it lists national championships for football, it lists a lot of teams that weren't the AP national champion. Like Auburn was somebody like Massey, the Massey computer ranking, national champion from 1993, even though Florida State won it that year. Well, I'm here to tell you, Aslan, I've done some of my own research. Florida State has 6 of them out there.
I've seen this. Yes.
1980, 1987, 1988, 1989, 1994, and 1996. Maybe there's a 90 in there too. Hey, man. If Auburn's going to all of a sudden have 9 national championships, I'm cool with Florida State having 9. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it means as much as all the nonsense that Auburn and Alabama claim that they didn't actually go win. You know what I mean? Like, especially pre-World War II, those national championships are just stupid. They're outrageously dumb. Teams went 6-2 and were awarded a national championship by some sports writer in Chicago. And they have it on a banner in their 100,000-seat stadium. So I might be writing a column about that, probably tongue-in-cheek. But I also wouldn't have a horrible – it wouldn't bother me that much after the snub if Florida State's like, okay, you didn't let us get play for the 2023 one. We're going to go ahead and claim these 6 other ones. We're going to have a great season. We just won 6 national championships in one day, just like Auburn did. So just throwing that out there, folks. I might lead that charge.
All right, that's a wrap for us on the live edition of the show. We got one more coming up this week, and we'll get to the rest of the questions that were in the Renegade Express mailbag. I got it all right here on a piece of paper. We'll speak to Evan Cooper and selected players tomorrow late morning, like 11:45. It says that's 11:30, but nobody's started at 11:30, and that's fine. But by this time, we all should know that it's going to probably end up starting closer to like 11:45. So check out warchant.com for all of that. The Jeff Cameron Show, 1 to 4 o'clock. Maybe Corey will have a nice tongue-in-cheek column about national titles being claimed across the country up on our website as well. Thanks to Thomas Giddings. Thanks to our friend in Kentucky, Dave, Corey Bates, Joel Davis, Shane. Credible Detailing, which I don't know if we ever got a question from them, but they thanked us, and we said, you're welcome. Troy in Wyoming, Mr. Outside, 6661. Mark, who's just marking Pinellas Park.
Right.
Shout out Pinellas County, stand up. And our guy Samurai out there in Japan, and everybody that's here hit the thumbs up. That's super awesome too. Thanks for asking the questions. Thanks for tuning in. Stay connected to warchant.com. We're gonna get through this season. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun one, everybody. So jump on this train. Let's go. He's Corey Maslon. Thanks for watching. If you could hit the thumbs up on the way out, that'd be really appreciated. Have a great one. Stay connected to warchant.com.